A 2011 Hyundai Sonata starter is taking a crap. The customer, these people got bad luck because their lady head gasket blew on the van. So I checked that out yesterday. Now, simultaneously, the husband's car done messed up. So what they described the phone was like a bad starter. They thought it was a battery. I don't know why, but that's common. People think the car cranks, but still wind up being a battery symptom. This starter is just freewheeling. The plunger is just not pushing the starter out. I'm gonna let you see what that sounds like. I'm gonna show you what I do to get it to start up, because I gotta get it moved so I can get in a good area to replace the starter. So I'm gonna show you what that sounds like. So you can hear the plunger, like it pushes out the lever mechanism, and so it pushed the pinion gear out to hit the flywheel, or flywheel, not the flywheel, but the ring gear. I'm gonna call it ring gear because I can't remember. The flywheel is usually referring to a manual, but it hits the ring gear on the torque converter and try to engage it, but it's not doing anything, so it engages and then comes back out. So what I do is let the starter disengage and then push the starter again, and keep doing that, and at some point in time it'll eventually grab. I'll show you what that looks like. So put the foot on the brake here and just push the starter. Let's do it rapidly. All right, I'm gonna keep on. I had a phone call. I had it started, but I had pushed the button, and there you go. All right, let me get this moved around, pulled in the spot so I can get it jacked up and start getting this starter off. All right, work on getting the intake off, just so we can work on getting the starter out. We'll pull the air duct off, air filter housing, and still have a lot more room to access that starter. It's a big chunk of space right there. Have to get a longer extension to get down in there. Let's get this. Right there. I might not have to pull that off. I can just pull the top housing off. Let me try that real quick. Pull the top housing, pull this off. Let's get a tin down here. So yeah, I didn't have to take that whole assembly out. Direction state, take the throttle body off, and there's a bracket down at the bottom. I understand. There's a 10 millimeter retainer for the map sensor. Pulling that off the intake. So far remove the air duct. That didn't require any tools. But a 10 millimeter. Removing the connector for the map sensor. It'll come off. There you go. Remove the throttle body connector. Pull the harness up and around. Now there's 4 10 millimeter bolts to remove the throttle body. Pull that off. All these 10 millimeter bolts are the same size. Throttle body is off. I don't want to have to pull those coolant lines off. So I have access to these 2 bolts for the starter. I'm gonna have to disconnect the positive or the negative on the battery. Doesn't matter. Let me go ahead and do that right now. Disconnect the negative. You don't want the battery positive wire shorting out on the ground or the block. I can probably get something to hold this throttle body in place, like a zip tie. Well, I ain't gotta pull those lines out. Let me do that. That works. So I'm gonna see if I have enough room to pull it out from the bottom. Only because the labor time says that it's less than an hour, so I imagine I don't have to pull the intake off. I'd imagine. But I'm gonna try this first. Let me show you the bolts I'm referring to. So here's one, then there's another one right there. That's what it looks like that needs to come off. It looked like there's enough room to pull the star down and out through here. Looks like, I think it's a 14 millimeter. It's 2 14s. Let's see what happens. I gotta pull the intake off or not. Yeah. It looked like the starter can be removed with the intake on, like the directions state. It's just, I probably got to remove that bracket right there, and I can probably swing it around. Look like what needs to happen. Let me try that. Pull that, look like 12 millimeter out. Let's see if I can swing that starter around. Pull this connector out for this harness out. like it's coming along. If I can feed it through. Got the face fed out. Let's see if I can pull it through. Okay. Alright, so that worked out. Now, still got to get the back fasteners connected properly. So I got it out, so you can't get it out with the intake on. So I'm glad I didn't pull that off. But the direction said you could, so it worked out. Let me show you. It's kind of sitting down here. Uh-oh. So I was able to pull the face out, swing it around on the hose side, and I got it out. So now I just got to get the screws off from the back and get it pulled out. So get the positive wire and the solenoid wire, get those removed, and should be good to go. So get that pulled out. That's the solenoid wire. Here's our 12-volt battery source. I feel like a 12. Might be a 13. I feel like a 12. Oh gosh. The driver fail. It's like a 12 millimeter. Yep, it's a 12. Let me get that pulled off. Retrieve my driver and get this installed in reverse order. To pull that off, I probably need more room. Here's the starter. The bolt dropped in the back. Here you go. Nut. There's the nut right there. It fell in the back. It's a 12 millimeter. So here's the starter, and it just have a problem pushing out. So we heard it, and Valio. Is that a? It doesn't have Hyundai or Kia written on it. So it's got to be aftermarket, if I recall properly. I imagine I have Hyundai or Kia written on it. Made in Mexico. It ain't China. All right, let's get some parts ordered. You can see it's just loose. All right, really ain't much to see. What I pulled out is the same. I just pretty much put everything back in reverse order. It actually went back in a lot quicker than I pulled it out. So if y'all know, I frequently patronize O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and I wound up getting one of the Ultima starters. So that's back in, and I got the map sensor, throttle body hooked back up. I got the main airbox hooked back up. I just got to put that duct on there. This right here. Now I want to show you one thing that I didn't pull out was that bar at the bottom, and I was able to finagle that starter out. The directions stated you need to pull that intake support. Let me show you that. And that's what I didn't pull out. It would have took a lot longer. I was able to maneuver it in and out, and it seemed like the aftermarket starter is a lot smaller than what the factory one. Not a lot, but it is just a slight bit smaller, saving on material. So we're gonna get this in here, get the duct on, put my negative battery terminal on, and we're gonna do his first startup. Make sure everything's good. Cool, it didn't short out. That means the starter's not shorted, and I didn't hook anything up backwards. All right, start it up. I'm not gonna let it run crazy long because this doesn't have any drivability problems. It's just simply a no crank, no start. Well, crank. Well, I don't even want to call it like a bad starter. Well, it didn't rotate, so technically there was no effort to crank. So no crank, no start. So labor time on that starter is 1 hour. I definitely did it within like 40 minutes. I'm a pro. Well, you know, what can I say? Tools that were used was a 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 14 millimeter, and some pliers. That's it. And got it out, got it back in faster than when I pulled it out. Very easy. So despite these engines having problems with the motors internally, this was just something that was superficial, such as a starter. Got it on, got it started. They can get on about their life and at least have one car running, because again, this lady's just been having pure bad luck. On when I was testing for the head gasket yesterday, this car wound up taking a crap. So need another car, and this one was disabled, so now they're back at 1. So if anything happened, I'll definitely update. But hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, had a reassurance of my work. See you next one.